Hey y'all, Greg here with Hoss. It's in the middle of the summertime and boy, we've been under a heat wave here. But today I want to show you one of our seed crops that we grow here at Hoss. I think you'll find it interesting. It is a butter bean, or some people call it a lima bean. We got our hands on this variety a few years ago over at Petals to the Past in Alabama, an event we did. One of the visitors that showed up there to see us gave us a sample of a butter bean called Reverend Taylor and wanted us to look at it and grow it, and we did, and we was excited about it. We thought it was a good addition to our seed offering, so we started growing this butter bean. Now what's unique about this butter bean is it is a running butter bean, which is not really unique. Some of our butter beans are bush and some of them are running. The older I get, prefer the running butter beans because they last longer and they're of course easier to harvest. This is a regular size butter bean. Unlike our very popular Christmas Lima running butter bean, this is a regular size butter bean here. And we don't see that very often. And it did have a cool story behind it, being grown in Alabama there by the Reverend Taylor family. So it has turned out to be an extremely popular variety for us. We sold out of it last year. So we're growing this seed crop here this year. This is the second seed crop we have grown of it. We seem to sell out a lot, but we got good harvest this year, and I'll show you what this butter bean looks like. Just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here, this is Christmas lima bean, which is the most popular lima bean that we sell. You've probably grown these before or seen them in seed catalogs. Compared to the Reverend Taylor. Now the Reverend Taylor's a lot smaller there. The Reverend Taylor is what I consider a regular sized butter bean compared to the jumbo large Christmas Lima. When picked green as immature butter beans, they're just nice and green, just like a regular, what we would call a regular butter bean. But when they dry out, they have that pretty color to them, a tan color. See how much smaller they are than the green butter beans there? And they have this dark red splatter or mottling to them. Now butter beans, unlike our pole beans or our bush beans, will actually take a good bit of heat, and they're thriving and doing pretty well in this 100-degree weather, although they do produce better when it's a little bit cooler. We got good healthy plants. We've kept them sprayed, we've kept the disease off of them, kept the insect pressure under control there. We're noticing we're losing some blooms. Got a lot of blooms on these things, but they are throwing off blooms in these hot 100-degree days, and that is expected. We're not getting quite the yields that we should. We plant these in the spring of the year, and we've already gotten a really good harvest off of them. Now we're setting blooms again, and we're losing a lot of them, but we're still getting a little bit. Our strategy is to keep this crop nice and clean and healthy, and going into the fall of the year, when this weather cools off a little bit, these things will load back up and they will produce a lot all the way up until frost. So we'll get a bumper harvest in the fall like we get in the springtime. Our summertime harvest is not all that great, but our strategy is to keep nice, good looking foliage on there that's clean of disease and insect to make it nice and healthy. So when that weather does cool off, man, it loads right back up again. Just to show you what we're looking at in these hot days, look there, it's pretty good yield of beans on there, but this is nothing compared to what these things will do this fall. That one right there is getting really close to harvest, but they're pretty good. You can see up here, they still putting on. We're throwing a lot of blooms. We see blooms on the ground, but we're still holding on to a decent amount. Now the way I trellis these is I use a cow panel, a metal cow panel. We use T-post. This right here works really good because we have a lot of foliage there and a lot of weight. And we've invested a lot of time and money, so we don't want these things falling over. So this is the best way, most expensive, but the best way I have found to grow these trellis and beans. Now, is a butter bean a lima bean, or is a lima bean a butter bean? We're here in the South, we use the term butter bean all the time. And we say butter bean. Most people in the South grow these things and they pick them in the green or immature stage, just like this right here. And if you can see there, that thing's starting to bulge out a little bit right there. We will pick them like that right there. We will shell them green, just like that right there. And that is the way we eat these beans. We call them butter beans. We cook them just like that when they're in the green, immature stage here. It's a common thing. But the reality is, a lot of people up north will pick these things in the dried stage, and they call them lima beans. but a lima bean is a butter bean and a butter bean is a lima bean. Pick them at different stages, people call them different things in different regions. Up north, you'll never hear the term butter bean, and down here in the south, we don't talk about lima beans a lot. Now, from a seed harvesting standpoint, we want to harvest them just like this right here. Here's a great example right here. We have 2 pods side by side. This one right here would be harvested by the home gardener, shelled and cooked as a green butter bean. But right beside it here, we've got a pod that has been left on there too long and it has dried out and turned brown. That is the way we harvest these for a seed crop. Now, one thing about these running bean crops is we always use drip tape. The reason is this is a long-term crop here that we plant in the springtime and we keep it all the way to frost. So we want to keep it as disease-free as we can, and having that water just on the root system makes a big difference here. But can you imagine trying to water this with overhead irrigation? And then we got these 100-degree days. It would take so much water to try to do that. The drip irrigation just makes it all worthwhile as far as keeping these seed crops nice and healthy using the drip tape. We harvest these beans every 3 or 4 days when they're producing well. We bring them in here and we spread them out on this mat right here, and we keep fans on them for 24 hours, 36 hours to make sure they're good and dry. Then the ladies up front, believe it or not, at customer service, when they have a little downtime, shell them out for us. After the ladies get these hand shelled out, we put them in these 10-20 microgreen trays. What's nice about them is they have holes in the bottom so we get air circulation through there, because we still need to dry these down somewhat. We put them in these trays about half full there, and then we put them in these carts. At this point, we put them in our cooler. What's unusual about our seed cooler is our humidity in here is real low. We have an expensive dehumidifier that we pull the moisture out of this cooler, which is unlike most coolers. Here in the South, humidity is a big thing. And we have to pull the humidity out and also keep it cool to keep good viable seed for our seed storage. But this works perfect for curing our seeds out, because not only are we keeping these seeds cool, but we're pulling the moisture out at the same time. Unlike what your refrigerator would do. Your refrigerator is going to keep things cool, but you're going to have a higher humidity in there. The next step is, after we get the moisture level down and we're real close on this batch right here, we will send these seeds off to the lab to get a germination test on them. We have to know what the germination is so we can pass that on to you and let you know how good the seeds these are. At that point, they're packed and available on our website for sale. We should have this spring, early summer crop available for sale on our website in just a few days. The only thing we've got left to do is to send them off for the germination test, and I feel real comfortable they're going to come back as great viable seeds. And then we'll have another crop coming into the fall that we'll be able to offer for next year. So hopefully we'll have a good supply of this Reverend Taylor butter bean or lima bean.